good evening, and welcome back to my Midnight Spook Show here on the Horror Metal channel. I'm Lord Hellhound, and I was tagged by Sean Urshan. A lot of my horror hangout buddies have been doing their top 10 favorite horror remakes videos, so I figured I would give my take on that. I'll go ahead and jump on the bandwagon there with my buddies, my YouTube friends, and give my thoughts. Now, if you watch my channel, most of you probably already know, I'm not the biggest fan of remakes. I think you should just make your own movie instead of rehashing somebody else's idea. You know, be creative. But there are a lot of them that actually do break away from the mold and are actually pretty decent. You know, a lot of things can go wrong with remakes. They're either too watered down and generic. Sometimes there's a PG-13, soulish, boring cash-in of an awesome R-rated horror movie, or there's one that just is just a pointless, unnecessary shot-for-shot remake that's just way too similar to the original. It's like, why bother? Then there are some that differ so much from the original that they could have just called it something else. Why even make it a remake? Then there are some just plain stupid. A lot can go wrong with a remake. But I'm here today to talk about the ones that actually are good. So let's go and get started. Number 10. Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 2003. I guess. I'm not a huge fan of this movie, but again, my standards for remakes are pretty low, so as far as remakes go, this is one of the better ones. I think Andrew Broniarski was awesome as Leatherface. I think Arlie Ermey was great as one of his family members, part of a cannibalistic clan. Here they're called the Hewitts instead of the Sawyers like in the original. Arlie Ermey was a great villain. The rest of the family sucks. We have old fat women. We have inbred-looking manly hick women. We have this guy with no legs in a wheelchair, this annoying bucktooth inbred kid. The family sucks. Other than Leatherface and Arlie Ermey's character, Sheriff Hoyt, I hate the rest of the family. I really would have wanted to see, I would have much rather saw updated versions of Drayton and the Hitchhiker and the Grandpa. They could have made them like even more scary than the original probably, but instead they went for a really crappy family. But again, as I said, Leatherface and Arlie Ermey were great. The rest of the family sucked, and that's my main gripe of this movie. But other than that, it's pretty good. It's just kind of generic. The original movie, there's no other movie like it. It's one of a kind. This one, there's a lot of other movies like it. But again, as far as remakes, it's one of the better ones. But I have it really low because, again, I love the original so much, and it's way better than this. But this isn't a bad redo by any means. One of the better ones. It's pretty good. But can't hold a candle to the original. Number 9, Friday the 13th, I guess. Well, no, this was actually pretty good. It doesn't have the 80s feel as some of my favorite movies, but the acting was pretty decent, and I thought that Derek Mears played a really good Jason. I thought he was really good. It kind of had the feel of some of the earlier Friday the 13th and even directly adapted them, but I would have liked this way better if it was a sequel. It should have picked up right after Freddy vs. Jason left off. He walks into the water, he throws Freddy's severed head away or whatever, and instead of that tacked-on prologue where we see his mother for like 5 seconds, it just feels, it'd have been better if it was a sequel. Or maybe a prequel. Maybe we see what happened with Jason. Maybe we see, did he drown? Did he not drown? How was he resurrected? What's his story? The stupid Halloween remake from Rob Zombie delved into Michael Myers' origin story, which we didn't need one. But Jason, I would have loved an origin story because we never really got one. We don't really understand. Did he drown? Did he not drown? What happened? This remake had a perfect opportunity to do that, but they wasted it. But aside from that, it's a pretty good remake. It's got some good kills, gratuitous gore, and nudity. At least it's an R-rated. At least it's not a watered-down PG-13 soulless crap fest. At least they felt respectful to the originals. It kind of adapts the first 4 movies. Again, Jason's done really well. He looks great. The acting's good, but I would have much preferred if it was a sequel. But as far as remakes go, it's one of the better ones. Number 8, the 2017 It movie. I don't really consider it a remake. It's just kind of another book adaptation. It just adapts the same source material as a previously made movie, but I'd feel bad if I left it out because I really, really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good movie, and I thought it bettered the original 1990 film in some ways. I don't own it yet. I really need to buy it. In fact, after this video, I'm going to go buy it because I have the original, but I don't have the 2017 version. I can't wait for Chapter 2. It's going to be really good. It looks great, and I loved the Chapter 1, so I'm sure Chapter 2 will be great. Hopefully it's just as good, or if not better. or at least almost as good. But yeah, I really, really liked it, even though I don't really consider it a remake, just another book adaptation. But I felt like it was necessary to include it on the list because I loved it. Oops, I grabbed. Well, my number 7's Dawn of the Dead, but I grabbed the wrong one. Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, now I grabbed the right one. Maybe I'll leave that in as a. Maybe I'll edit that out and have it as a blooper or an outtake, or I'll just leave it in. I couldn't give a good shit. But yeah, this is the 2004 version. Not quite as good as the original, but comes very close. I like it a lot, actually. This is definitely one of the better remakes. When I saw it in theaters, I had a really good time. Now the zombies are a lot faster and more fierce and more violent than the original. And I think this one's more action-packed and entertaining. It's not as sophisticated or as scary as the original, but it's very, very good. I wish they would have had the evil bikers in this one, though. That's my only gripe. But the mall setting was great. The zombies looked great. The effects were great. The gore was great. Definitely one of the better remakes I've seen, for sure. I highly recommend it. It's one of the only remakes that didn't piss me off. All right, next, what are we on now? 5 or 6? Let's see. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Number 6. The Hills Have Eyes remake. Again, I like the original better just by a hair, and I think the only reason I like the original better than this awesome remake is because of Michael Berryman. Michael Berryman's the only reason I hold the original higher than this one. I didn't really like... Here Pluto was... they made it formed... I didn't really care for that. I liked him. He had an awesome personality in the original. He talked and had dialogue. And I liked Michael Berryman's take much better. So that's really the only thing I like better about the original. Other than that, this one's a lot gorier. It's a lot more kills. It's way more bloody and violent. And probably a lot more entertaining as well. But again, I do think the family was done a little better in the original. Although I really do like Robert Joy's version of Lizard called Mars in the original, played by Keith Gordon. He was really good in this. And yeah, all the characters were good. The acting was good. Ted Levine, who played Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs, plays the dad. He was good. The cannibalistic family are good. There's a lot more of them in this one than there was in the original. So yeah, I do prefer the original by a hair, but this one comes very close. I love it. Definitely one of the better remakes. When I first saw it, I was very, very pleased. I like this one a lot. It's a great remake. Next, coming in at number 5, My Bloody Valentine 3D. I loved this movie. It comes very close to the original. Again, I do prefer the 1981 classic, but this one does come very close. Very gory, very suspenseful, a little disturbing here and there. Great acting by Jensen Ackles and Kerr Smith and all them. They do a great job. I really loved it. I love the 3D effects. It was very fun seeing this in the movie theater. I had a blast. It was like a roller coaster ride of thrills and chills. I absolutely loved it. I love the mystery whodunit angle. Great kills, great gore. Very, very good. Yeah, it comes very close to the original. I prefer the original by a hair, but this one does come very close. One thing I will say is the kills did get kind of generic. I feel like too many of them were done with a pickaxe, but they were still bloody and effective enough to be awesome. Because the original was a little more variety with the kills. There's a guy getting his head shoved in the boiling water and stuff. This one, most of them were done with a pickaxe, but they were still done very well. Yeah, I absolutely love this movie. It blew me away. Definitely one of the better remakes and way better than Friday the 13th and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They should have been as good as this one. I know most people say those are better, but I like this one way better. Great remake. Definitely belongs in my top 10. Alright, so now we're down to the top 5, right? 10, 8, 7, 6. Where are we at? Oh yeah, the top 4, I mean, sorry. Number 4. The Hammer horror movies, all of them. Just all of them. All the ones that can be considered a remake, even though they're just kind of other adaptions of the same story. Yeah, Curse of Frankenstein, and Horror of Dracula, and The Mummy, and yeah, just all of them. Phantom of the Opera. Every single Hammer movie that can be considered a remake of the classic Universal monster movies. Just every single one of them. I love the Hammer movies. They are amazing. And a lot of them were just as good, if not better, than some of the Universal ones. I think Universal did Frankenstein better, but I think Hammer definitely did Dracula better. Although, it's a close one between Bela Lugosi and Christopher Lee. I like them both in different ways, but Christopher Lee played the character a lot more, so, Anyway, now we're down to the top 3. Number 3, The Blob. Again, I do slightly prefer the 1958 original with Steve McQueen. I just think that it had kind of a certain charm to it. But this one definitely is definitely scarier. It ups the gore, it ups the violence, it ups the special effects. Probably better acting too overall. Kevin Dillon and Shawnee Smith do a great job. They have great chemistry together. The Blob looks amazing. The special effects are incredible. I think the Blob looked more smooth in the original. It had better effects here, but I like the design of the Blob better in the original. It looked more smooth and sleek, and here it kind of looks like a giant turd. But the effects are way better. And then watching the people rapidly dissolve by the Blob, which we didn't see in the 1958 version, is really great. I love this movie. It's one of my favorite late 80s movies, and definitely one of the best remakes. And it makes up what I consider the holy trinity of remakes, the other two entries of which I'm going to get into in a minute. You already know what they are. Very good movie. I love the Blob. I do prefer the original slightly, but this one's very good too. Now, here we get to the very first remake on the list that actually betters the original. This is the only remake on the list so far that I think is better than the original, and that's The Fly. I love the original 1950s version. It's one of my favorite sci-fi movies ever made. It's got Vincent Price. It's awesome. It's creepy. It's very, very good. But this one outdoes it. Sorry to say. David Cronenberg directed it. Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis star, and it is great. The special effects, phenomenal. Breathtaking. Way better than all the CGI shit of today. This movie is great, and yes, it does outdo the original. You're not going to hear me say that very often, that a remake's better than the original, but this one certainly does. Though I still love the original, don't get me wrong. I only like this one a little bit better, but it's great. I love The Fly. Love it. Very, very good. Alright, now some honorable mentions. Before we get to my number one choice, which I'm sure you already know what it is. Honorable mentions. Night of the Living Dead from 1990. Pretty good. Not as good as the original. Pretty good. Evil Dead. I didn't care for it a whole lot, but again, as far as remakes go, it's pretty good. It's one of the better ones. It's nowhere near the original trilogy. Not even close. But it's not bad. You know, it's not bad. I Spit on Your Grave. I thought this was pretty good. I like the original better with Camille Keaton, but this one's pretty good. It's probably more brutal than the original overall. But I feel like it was a little more surreal. The original was a little more grounded. This one's a little more, this one's not very realistic, but not that I really look for that in my horror movies all the time, but pretty brutal, you know. Kind of feels like a Saw movie in the last half, but I liked it a lot. That was a good remake. Did I leave one out? Oh, whoops. I forgot to grab Last House on the Left. I won't grab it. But yeah, the Last House on the Left movie from, 2009, I thought was a really good remake. Not as good as the 1972 original, but very close. I thought it was very, very good. So yeah, Last House on the Left is one of my honorable mentions. Another honorable mention, House of Wax. And you're probably thinking, that's not a remake. That has a remake. Technically, it is a retelling of the 1933 Mystery of the Wax Museum with Fay Wray, from King Kong, which also came out in 1933. But the Vincent Price movie is even better. So yeah, I guess it technically counts as a remake. It's really good. And I also like the 2005 version. You get to see Paris Hilton die. You know, can't go wrong with that. It's a dumb movie, but it's really fun. And I think it's one of the better remakes, you know, considering. Not as good as this one at all, but it's pretty good. It's dumb, cheesy, popcorn entertainment, you know. It has some good kills and some good disturbing scenes. I thought it was kind of creepy, you know. But so yeah, it's an honorable mention. Yeah. I forgot to grab Last House on the Left. My bad. Also, Piranha. It's a pretty good one. I don't really consider this a remake. I just kind of think it's another movie about piranhas that happens to be titled Piranha. It doesn't really have much in common with the original, but if it does count as a remake, I like it. I thought it was really fun. It's stupid, but it's really fun. Some good gory action there. Seeing piranhas rip up people. Can't go wrong with that. Well, actually you can, because the movie that followed this one really sucked, but this one was pretty good. Alright, for my number one choice, you already know it's coming. Say it with me now. John Carpenter's The Thing. This is the only remake I've ever seen that blows the original out of the water. Don't get me wrong, I love the original. It's a great 1950s sci-fi movie. It's really creepy, really suspenseful, has a pretty cool looking monster. This movie outdoes it in every way. Now technically this is another book adaptation, and this one's more faithful to the source material than the original movie was. But it's called The Thing, and John Carpenter was clearly inspired by The Thing from Another World. As you can see, he played clips from that movie in the original Halloween, so he's definitely a big fan. So this technically counts as a remake. Where do I begin? Oh man, Kurt Russell being a badass as always. The best special effects I have ever seen. The most awesomely well-designed alien creature I've ever seen, probably. This movie blends sci-fi and horror together flawlessly. Just like Alien and like Predator and stuff like that. This movie is the king of the sci-fi horror films, and it does outdo the original in pretty much every way. Maybe the original was a little more suspenseful, or had, more of a storyline. I don't know. In my opinion, this one's way better, and that's the only time you'll ever hear me say that. It's the only time the remake destroys the original. Though I do like The Thing from Another World, like I said, but this one is just better in every way. I love The Thing. This is one of my favorite John Carpenter movies, right up there with Halloween and The Fog and all them, Escape from New York. This is one of the better ones, and yeah, Kurt Russell's a badass. All the characters are good, all the acting's good, and the creature effects are spectacular. They're out of this world. So, yeah, wow, yeah, I can't praise this movie enough. I love it. Yeah, Albert Whitlock and Robert Botten really outdid themselves with the special effects here, and the music done by Ennio Morricone. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Great score, great soundtrack, great directing, like John Carpenter as always. Great acting by Kurt Russell and Bill Lancaster and all them. Kurt Russell and what's his name? Bill Lancaster was actually who wrote the screenplay. Sorry, I got them mixed up. Flawless movie, and the best remake of all time. There probably will never be a better remake than this one. The Thing is the greatest remake of all time. And part of the Holy Trinity with The Fly and the Blob. Alright guys, I'm Hellhound. Thank you for watching my top 10 remakes video. Until next time, thank you for watching my Midnight Spook Show here on the Horror Metal channel. So until we meet again, I'm Lord Hellhound, and thank you for watching. Later.